And for more on the lifting of nuclear-related sanctions on Iran and reactions from around the world, I'm joined by Patricia DeGenarro. She's a senior fellow at the World Policy Institute, a think tank that examines emerging global issues. Welcome back to the broadcast.
Thank you.
What is your initial reaction to the deal?
I think it's great. I mean, I think it shows that everything is on track, that diplomacy can work, that we're taking the right trajectory to improve relations with Iran in the Middle East, and they held true to the agreement thus far. So that can build trust between the parties, so that we can increase that and move to the next step.
Perhaps today the headline, a little bit of overshadowing the deal, is the new sanctions that have been levied. How significant is this?
Well, I'm sure during the negotiations, this was not a surprise to the Iranian government. I'm sure that they realized that the U.S. was probably going to do this. The good news is it's not sanctions against the country as a whole. It's sanctions against particular companies and individuals that are directly connected with supporting the ballistic missile project. I think if the missiles hadn't been tested throughout the nuclear agreement, that this perhaps could have been shelved or might have been shelved, but it's a very big concern to the region, to the Americans, and a continuation from inhibiting Iran to be able to use a nuclear device if they were to get one ever in the future. So,
and as you know, Chinese President Xi Jinping is going to visit Tehran later this week. In 2014, there was as much as $50 billion in trade between the two countries finalized. What's going to come out of this meeting?
Well, I think that's going to improve. I don't think that, that relationship is going to be severed whatsoever. I'm really happy to say that the U.S. is continuing engagement, because this could be a win-win for all parties in the region. China has kept very strong relations with Iran all through the sanctions, and I think they will be able to improve some of the economic investment in the country and take it away more from that military focus that's been done for such a long time.
Parliamentary elections will be held in Iran in February. Was this a factor in forcing the two to really come to the table, especially on Iran's part?
I'm not sure it was much of a factor. I think that Iran overall, the government understood that this is where they wanted to go. I know we hear rhetoric out of the country the same way we hear rhetoric out of our own politicians here for public consumption. But I think overall that Iran understands that it's been in its interest, and it will be in its longer-term interest, along with the United States' interest, to strengthen relationships and engagement between the parties. So I think this is a long time coming. We've heard the Iranians reach out to the Americans for several years. Finally, we've moved our diplomatic process to match that, and I would like to see that, and I see it being strengthened as time passes.
Iran will receive billions of dollars when its assets are unfrozen. Will they be a major player in the international banking community over the next year or two?
I think that they will. I think bankers have already been preparing and planning for the opening in the country. I know when I was in the Middle East this past summer that there were a lot of rumors and there were a lot of parties getting ready to move forward in that area. And I think that'll be a good actually balance for the Gulf and Dubai, for that matter. So I look forward to being able to visit sooner, and I think the economy will move forward, and this is good news for all parties concerned.
Patricia DeGenarro, we really appreciate your time. Thank you for being here.
Thank you.